Spotify just updated their royalty policy, declaring that songs under 1,000 streams per year will not get paid any royalties. They also announced additional platform changes to address fake streams and other payment issues. So how exactly does this affect you and your music, and what are the 8 strategies that independent musicians must implement in order to continue getting paid on Spotify? Number 8, this might be the time to consider changing music distributors. Here's why. Spotify says that as a new deterrent, beginning early next year, we will start charging labels and distributors per track when artificial streaming is detected on their content. Not only that, but Spotify has just improved their fake stream detection software. That means they're going to be cracking down like never before. So why change distributors because of this? Well, Spotify is going to start looking for bad actors and start disincentivizing them. This means lower priced distributors are going to start getting flooded with monetary penalties because they will have more artists with low quality music that need to turn to fake streams in order to get their stream count up. Meanwhile, higher priced distributors and also exclusive distributors are more likely to go to bat for you as an artist because you'll be a part of a higher caliber group of artist peers. In other words, because Spotify is cracking down on distributors when artificial streaming is detected, that means distributors are going to crack down on their artists. So now moving forward, choosing a distributor isn't just selecting a service provider, but also selecting a fraternity of artists that your music will automatically be associated with. Plus, a couple of major music distributors like CD Baby and TuneCore just updated their pricing models, so it's definitely worth checking out if it's a good fit for you. I'll leave those 2 links in the description below. But what about Spotify's new royalty policy? This leads us to number 7. Moving forward, artists should release their songs one at a time in order to maximize their promotion results and reach a minimum 1,000 streams. This is because Spotify says that tracks need to reach at least 1,000 streams in the previous 12 months in order to generate any royalties. I believe the best way to combat this and get your songs over 1,000 streams is through your release strategy. It's through focus, and releasing one song at a time is going to focus your marketing efforts in the most efficient way possible. Now, there's an interesting nuance to this change that a lot of people aren't talking about, and many artists are misinformed. People are assuming that Spotify made this royalty change out of greed and that they just want to hold on to your money instead of paying it out for those songs that are sub 1,000 streams. But in reality, Spotify isn't making more money, and you're actually not losing any money either. In fact, Spotify did a study, and the payments for songs under 1,000 streams actually never reached artists' bank accounts at all. They got stuck in the distributor's bank account, and they couldn't get withdrawn because of withdrawal limits. So Spotify decided that instead of that $3 getting trapped in your DistroKid account because you're not reaching the withdrawal minimums, they're going to just withhold those royalties. Plus, Spotify promises that tracks over 1,000 streams will earn more with this new policy. So let's make sure you're an artist that is earning more and not less moving forward, which leads us to number 6, using the waterfall release method in order to get your tracks over 1,000 streams. If you don't know what the waterfall release method, it's an ISRC trick where you re-release your existing singles using the same ISRC codes from your singles onto your EP release or album release. Every recording has a unique ISRC code, and the waterfall release strategy takes the streams that you've generated from your single release and applies it to your EP release as long as you use the same ISRC for that song title. This not only prevents you from having multiple versions of the same song on Spotify, but when you release your EP, your existing singles will carry over their stream counts on your EP release. And because of Spotify's new 1,000 stream minimum policy, this is now more important than ever to make sure you're maximizing your chances of hitting that threshold. But remember, not all streams are created equal, which leads us to number 5. Stop using bot playlists and select your playlists very carefully. As I mentioned earlier, the penalty for bot streams is about to get even worse, and you, the artist, are going to be on the hook if you repeatedly get bot plays on your catalog. Now, my prediction for this is that our go-to platforms like Playlist Push and Submit Hub are going to get artists in more and more trouble because those platforms accept any third-party curator with minimal vetting. In other words, Playlist Push has no clue if a curator is using bots or not, and they won't go to bat for you if you end up getting playlisted on a bot playlist. Instead, you should use a playlisting company that operates differently, that vets every single one of their curators and provides a 100% bot-free guarantee. We offer this exact type of service at the Indie Music Academy and run our clients' campaigns the right way. So if you don't have a playlisting partner for your music yet, I'd highly recommend checking out the Indie Music Academy, and I'll leave a link to our services in the description below. But playlisting isn't the only way to get over 1,000 streams on a track, which leads us to number 4. Build a reliable communication strategy with your fan base. Here's the reason. If you can send one email and get 1,000 streams in one day, then you'll never have to worry about being under the Spotify stream limit. This is because streams are generated through traffic, and there's a few different ways you can generate traffic for your music. The first is generating traffic through Spotify itself. You can use playlisting like I mentioned earlier, or you can try triggering an algorithm to generate stream traffic on the Spotify platform. But the other way is driving traffic to Spotify from another platform. And one of the best ways to do this is through a mailing list. In fact, that was the example that I mentioned earlier. Growing your mailing list is a surefire way to make sure that you are communicating effectively with your audience every time you have a new release on Spotify. You can't rely on Spotify to give a push notification or any type of reliable communication when you release a song, and so you need to be in control of your communication channels. That's why I highly suggest building your mailing list. I'll leave some resources in the description below for you to check out. I just talked about generating internal traffic on Spotify using playlisting, then I talked about external traffic using a mailing list, and there's yet another way to generate streams on Spotify, which leads us to number 3. Moving forward, artists need to implement an organized and strategic short-form content strategy to grow their Spotify streams. Organic short-form content means posting either on TikTok, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts. A lot of you are already using these platforms and already uploading short-form content, but if you're just posting cover songs or performances of your original music, you're really only doing one out of the 8 content categories that you could be utilizing as a musician. Right now, I'll put on the screen the 6 different types of content that you should be making, and if you need more information about this, leave a comment below and I'll help you out. The reason why there's 6 different types of content is because there are different ways to engage a fan base, not just one. Performing your music is just one tool, and you should be using multiple tools in order to relate to your fan base and eventually trigger the algorithm. But triggering the algorithm with organic content isn't the only way to reach new fans, which leads us to number 2. Musicians should use direct advertising to fully control the trajectory of their music growth. If you don't know what direct advertising is, that's Facebook ads and Instagram swipe up ads and anything where you pay in order to get impressions. A lot of musicians assume that this is a very expensive way to market your music, but it can actually be done effectively using as little as $1 to $5 a day of marketing budget. Direct advertising guarantees that your message will get in front of people because you are paying for those impressions instead of relying on the algorithm to bless you with those impressions. And I always recommend that artists implement an organic strategy and a paid strategy to shorten the timeline in which their music gets discovered. Plus, you can run different campaigns for different goals, such as growing on Spotify, getting more views on your music video, and even growing your mailing list. If you want to learn more about direct advertising for your music, you can first start by checking out this free video here where I walk you through how to set up your first campaign. Then you can check out my full course in the description below called the Spotify Growth Formula, which talks about every type of campaign you can possibly run to grow your music on Spotify. But whether you decide to use organic strategies, paid strategies, or both, you need to understand which songs are are the best ones to market. This leads us to the last item of our countdown today. Musicians need to regularly export their Spotify stream data so that they can understand how close they are to reaching 1,000 streams. To do that, head over to Spotify for Artists and click over to the Music tab. Once you're there, you'll have to click over to this Songs tab, and you will now see a download button appear next to the date selector. At this time, Spotify doesn't have the option to select a custom date range, nor does it allow you to select the last 12 months. So what we have to do is gather this data manually. Select the last 28 days and click the download button in order to grab this month's data. What you'll get is the listeners, streams, and save counts for all of your music on Spotify, and here are my 3 songs that I currently have released. If you take a look at the streams column and all of your songs are over 1,000 streams, then you're good to go. But if you do have some songs that are under 1,000 streams, you'll want to set a calendar reminder 28 days from now to do this process again and access your next 28-day data. It should only take a few months of data to be able to predict if you will reach 1,000 streams by the end of the year, or if you need to increase your marketing efforts in order to get back on track. If this video was helpful, do me a favor and let me know in the comment section below what you're going to do to respond to Spotify's new royalty policy updates. Also, do you think that Spotify made the right decision implementing this 1,000 stream minimum, or do you think it'll be a mistake that they will come to regret later? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in a future video.